UFC 309 just wrapped up, and the card was kind of abysmal. The prelims were pretty good. The prelims delivered for the most part. The main card did not deliver, in my opinion. Chandler, Oliveira was a good fight. Kind of stale at times, to be honest. It just had a lot of crazy moments, and it's one of those fights where you're going to be at the edge of your seat the entire time, kind of like a Yuri Pereira fight, because you know at any moment someone could get finished. The main event was a joke. Jon Jones, I don't know how this is possible, but Stipe, I feel like, did better than most people thought, but he looked worse than most people thought. A lot of people thought he was going to get finished in the first round. I thought he was going to get finished in the second round. I thought it was going to be a submission. But Stipe was landing good shots on the feet, but he looked so much worse. He looked so slow, and he's always been a slow guy. But this was something else. This was just disgraceful. It was like, oh, he has no business being in an octagon. He looked no older than 55. I mean, he looked really bad. And on top of that, we get no video. We get no video for a Stipe retirement. And I know a lot of people have said this, Michelle Waterson-Gomez, she gets a video. A lot of these other girls, they get videos. Whole retirements. Even the guy fighters usually get some sort of send-off. Stipe's like, oh, yep, that's it for me. And Joe Rogan is like, okay, we admire you, Stipe. You're a good guy. Have fun in retirement. And that's it. That's it. I don't even know if he put his gloves down. It was nothing. It was like a 10-second interview. He should have stayed retired. We all know this. We all know he fought. He took this fight because it was for a title, and he was getting paid like $7 million or something. So, and Jon Jones, let's be honest, he's not a finisher. I get he's got back-to-back finishes, but in his career, he usually doesn't get the finish. I knew he was going to get a finish here. Stipe is just too old. On top of that, Stipe doesn't have the best chin. That he didn't really have a chin problem in this fight, but still, it was really not a good fight. Jones, first round, second half, some nasty elbows. Obviously, the better grappler. We all knew this. Second and third round, Jones was getting caught with a decent amount of shots, and Jones is so open on the feet. I just feel like Aspinall, his power is on a different level. It's almost like Ilya Max. Jones has a granite chin. He has a really good chin. Same thing, Max Holloway. He had an even better chin, and I predicted Ilya by finish because there's a level of an opponent and a level of power where, yes, people have granite chins, but they're still human. They still can get cracked. And that's what I think is going to happen. I think Tom Aspinall is going to flatline him. I don't think that's really an unpopular opinion, a hot take or anything. But I've been saying this for a while, as most people have. Jon Jones, he lost to Dominic Reyes. I think he beat Santos. Wasn't impressive. Santos had one leg. If Santos didn't get injured, he could have won that fight, and he probably would have won that fight. Anthony Smith, he destroyed him, but come on, you can't finish Anthony Smith. It's just, I've always felt like he's overrated because a lot of people make him out to be this guy who's unbeatable, but I just see that he's so beautiful. I almost said beautiful. That's crazy. No, Jones, he's so beatable. He really is. He's not, there's a lot of openings, and I feel like Tom Aspinall, he's also open. Jones can win that fight. But I think Jones's way to win that fight is kind of by surviving the first 2 rounds. But even then, Aspinall could have good cardio. We don't know. And I don't think that Jones is really going to have much success in the grappling against Aspinall unless it somehow goes to a 4th, a 5th. And I think Aspinall just has too much power to not knock out Jon Jones. And he's so fast. Where Jones is fast, he's a light heavyweight. Aspinall is different. He's also, he's just as fast in my opinion, especially with the hands. Jones probably has faster kicks. He probably would target the body just like he did against Stipe. I don't know how long that's going to work out for, to be honest. But yeah, it was a good fight. No, it wasn't a good fight. It was kind of a mid-fight. Wasn't the worst thing to watch. It was kind of funny, not going to lie. Sad seeing Stipe be so old. But yeah, the main event did not deliver as we expected. That MSG crowd was so awful. Like, they were chanting, they were cheering, but God, I just feel like There's no Aspinall chant, and I feel like, in my opinion, the real fans don't show up to the stadium. The real fans, they're watching outside, they're watching at home. Just the fans in the stadium, I feel like, are the most, not all, but are the most casual fan base. They're the TikTok fan base, and it's just insufferable. Like, I saw people earlier today saying, oh, and Aspinall has been a little bit more cocky in the past few months, as he should be. And he said something like, oh, he thinks that he's going to beat Jon Jones. Of course he's going to say that. That's nothing shocking. And we have fans saying, oh, you don't want to face motivated Jones. I mean, that's just as bad as contender Izzy. Like, these are motivated McGregor. Like, these are like the most casual things I feel like a fan could say. Motivated Jones. Oh, when Jones is motivated, he's unbeatable. It's a joke. Jon Jones, fight Tom Aspinall. We're not going to ever see the fight, though. Don't think that just because Jon Jones said he's not retiring, that does not mean he's going to fight Tom Aspinall. He's going to blame it on the UFC. He's going to say, oh, they didn't pay me, all this other stuff. It's going to be a whole thing. He's going to hold up the division for even longer. And his post-fight shenanigans were almost as bad as his pre-fight shenanigans. I mean, he's doing like the little Trump dance, whatever. And you could tell he's just trying so hard to be likable. And then when they ask him about Tom Aspinall, he has the audacity to be like, oh, like, I want to thank Jesus Christ, which is fine. But it's just like, he's so clearly ducking, and he's doing it in ways where if you call him out for it, with the whole Jesus Christ thing, if you call him out for that, people are going to be saying, oh, why are you mad? Just because he's talking about Jesus, he has every right to. And it's like, he's hiding behind like things like, oh, don't talk about my kids, hiding behind religion in order for people to not attack him. And it's really just pathetic. I just hate the guy. He's one of those guys where if something really bad happens to him, I'm not going to act, have any sympathy towards him. The whole like, oh, don't talk about my kids. It's just crazy because even if he was talking about him, he's saying you're a piece of shit. He's not talking about your kids. It's kind of the same thing that happened with like Jorge Masvidal and Colby Covington. But yeah, that's what I think about the main event. That was really long, but I just had to rant for a little bit. The co-main event, Oliveira versus Chandler. A decent fight. Kind of shocked that it went to a decision. I feel like everyone is. I had a feeling after every round. I was like, oh, like after the first round, I was like, oh, please tell me that we're not going to see like the opposite, where Michael Chandler is the one who comes back and wins. And every round where Oliveira almost finished him but didn't, I got a little bit more worried because I'm like, he's using a lot of energy. And Chandler is always going to be dangerous. And I'm like, oh, I really hope we don't see a comeback victory. And in the fifth round, I was so worried. Even before the fifth round, I was like, no, just play it safe, shoot that takedown. But we saw a different version of both of these guys. Oliveira, the wrestling Oliveira of shooting takedowns, getting the takedowns against a really high-level wrestler, Michael Chandler. And Michael Chandler, he has the body type where he is the hardest guy to take down, short, stocky. And Oliveira was doing it with ease, especially in the first 4 rounds. Kind of shocked that he wasn't able to submit him, but he was landing really good ground and pound, good shots to the body, good elbows, doing really good on the feet, very patient, a lot of front kicks, which I really wanted to see, a lot of kicks in general, good straight shots, knees up the middle, elbows, everything you want to see from Oliveira. He looked very calculated in the stand-up, in the grappling, and Michael Chandler, the dirtiest fighter in the UFC. First off, I think it was the second round, he was grabbing the cage throughout the entire fight. And he stopped like 2 or 3 takedowns because he was holding the cage for like 30 seconds. And then the back of the headshots, I was screaming so loud. I was so angry. And then we have Joe Rogan. I just can't stand the guy. The worst commentator in the UFC by far. I'd rather hear 3 Michael Bispings than 1 Joe Rogan. He is so annoying. He glazes everyone that he shouldn't be. And he does it in a very weird way where it's like, a bit sus. And he's saying when DC's like, all those are back to the head. And Joe Rogan's like, oh, people forget, man. Some of those are to the side of the head. Those are illegal. It's like, oh, shut the fuck up. Like, he is so annoying. But Oliveira doesn't have quit in him anymore, and he survives the 5th round. Michael Chandler, also, I just want to say, Michael Chandler is on EPO. He took a note from Marab, and he took a play from his playbook, and he pulled a Marab, and he's on EPO. This guy gasses out in every single one of his fights, and in the 5th round, he's perfectly fine. As soon as USADA leaves, he's in the best shape of his life in his entire career. He looks like how he looked in Bellator. He's definitely on sauce 100%. He's, on sauce, grabbing the cage, eye pokes, back of the headshots, and Oliveira still pulls it off. Doesn't get the finish, but that was the best version of Oliveira we've ever seen. And both of these guys, they are not chinny anymore. I don't know what it is with fighters taking a bunch of damage and then all of a sudden having just a granite chin, because Oliveira in that 5th round, that was a massive right hand from Michael Chandler. And he got stumbled a little bit, but it mainly was the eye thing that was bothering him rather than the punch itself. But he ate that. Like, he just was eating big shots, and he was avoiding a lot of not straight shots. Oliveira, his big problem, and the one flaw he still has, is he has a very high guard, so he avoids a lot of the big hooks, big shots until the 5th round. It's not even that he's chinny, because he's gotten dropped by very powerful guys except for Islam, but still. His main problem is he doesn't move his head off the center line, so if you just throw straight shots, you're going to land them. And that's what Chandler was doing. Chandler came in here with a game plan. He was throwing the jab, straight shots. He just got out-wrestled and out-grappled, which how dominantly he got out-wrestled is kind of shocking. On the feet, he tried to be more technical, more patient. The problem with Michael Chandler is he's not a technical guy, so you're not going to out-technique Oliveira. I feel like that was kind of his downfall. Good for him, not really, because I'm not a big fan of his, but good for him that he had a good 5th round. Because if he didn't and he got dominated in the 5th, people would be saying, oh, he needs to hang it up. Now he's probably going to get a big fight, which he doesn't really deserve, to be honest. But yeah, I'm glad Oliveira's finally shooting takedowns. Oliveira looked really good. I don't know if he beats Islam or Arman. I think it would be more competitive. And like I said before this video, I think it was my prediction video or the I'm worried video for Oliveira. I said that Oliveira, that was not him against Islam. It was, but he could do so much better is what I was saying, and I still believe that. I still feel like he could give Islam a run for his money. I think he's going to lose against Islam and probably Arman. It's going to be a razor close fight, though. He's going to give it his all. It's going to be a good performance. But yeah, that was the co-main event. Pretty good. Decent fight. Kind of stale 1st round. Kind of stale 4th round. Interesting 5th round. Good 2nd and 3rd round. But yeah, the featured fight, Bo Nickal, Paul Craig. A lot of people did not like this fight. People were chanting overrated. I'm going to be honest. I don't think that Bo Nickal did that bad. And I don't think that this is like, oh, he's just not ready yet. My opinion on him didn't change. I still think he's good, but he's just too young and too inexperienced. And he has a lot of potential. He was landing nasty body shots against Paul Craig. I know Paul Craig isn't known for his stand-up, but he has decent stand-up. He just doesn't have a good chin. And Bo Nickal, he won the 2nd, won the 3rd, kind of hurt him in the 3rd. 1st round was a toss-up, arguably won. It was a boring fight, but he did good. Yes, he didn't finish Paul Craig. Yes, he shouldn't have been a minus 1,000 favorite. He's still not bad, though. And I know people are chanting overrated. I think he's underrated now. That's my hot take. I like Bo Nickal. Paul Craig, decent kicks, like I predicted. No grappling exchanges, which was kind of shocking. Yeah, I don't think that he's as bad as people say. Moving on, the 4th fight, Karine Silva, Viviane. I picked Karine Silva. She threw the fight. Just no IQ. That she could have easily finished her or got a 30-27. She arguably won, but she did not deserve to win. She didn't get fraud checked. She got IQ checked. I'm never picking her again. She has talent. She has no IQ. I mean, she was throwing herself on bottom, and she kept on trying to grapple, and it's like, you're doing good on the feet. You're doing good on the feet. You could potentially knock her out. You're hurting her every time you land. But she kept on shooting takedowns and putting herself in bad positions. I still think that she won, but that was a really pathetic showing of fight IQ. But yeah, moving on, opening up the main card. Ruffy versus LIontop. I almost picked Ruffy by decision. I picked him by knockout. I said that LIontop is a very hard guy to put away, but I think Ruffy will hurt him late, second, third round. And I got that right. It just he wasn't able to finish him. It was very similar to like a Diego Lopez, Danny Ige like situation where one guy has a really good chin and he doesn't have to cut weight. So it's very hard to knock out or hurt a guy that's already big for the division, doesn't cut weight, and already has a good chin, very tough. And his stock grew. LIontop is 0-3 in the UFC though, so that's kind of an issue. He's a young prospect, so you have to give him another fight or two. Ruffy, he looked good, very fast, Brazilian Conor McGregor, kind of slowed down in the third, so that's not... I don't think that he's the best fighting nerd, like people were saying, but overall a decent performance. Moving on, opening up the prelim headliner. Johnathan Martinez, my favorite fighter. I picked him to win, and he should have won, just like Karine Silva. He should have won. It wasn't a robbery, and the judges got it right. The problem is he has no fight IQ, and people were saying, oh, he just was starstruck against Jose Aldo. I picked Aldo, by the way, by decision. Oh, he just was starstruck. Like, is this dude starstruck by fucking McGhee? Are you kidding me? It was unbelievable. He didn't throw a punch. He didn't throw a kick in the first round. He just let himself get beat up. And maybe he's trying to do a Peter Yan. And even in the second round, he's not throwing anything until like the very end. He does really good in like the last minute or two, but he's just not throwing anything against McGhee, who's throwing volume, throwing big punches, landing. And in the third round, this fucking idiot, he hurts McGhee. He has McGhee on one leg. And what does he do? He shoots a takedown and he clinches up for like an entire minute. I mean, I couldn't believe my eyes. It was unbelievable. By the way, Said Nurmagomedov was robbed by Martinez. That's another fight he shouldn't have won. He loses this fight 0-2. He's the new Ricky Simone. And the UFC should cut him, genuinely. Unfortunately, Aldo's win over him ages very poorly. And yeah, very unfortunate. Just a pathetic showing. And then on top of that, they get out of the clinch. He has a minute left. McGhee still is on one leg. And he just stares at him. What are you doing? It was unbelievable. Of course, I knew I shouldn't have picked Martinez. I did horrible on picks. I went like 6 for 12. To be fair, the prelims were very hard to predict, and I picked a few pretty decent-sized underdogs. Damon Jackson taps out, quits in the first round. Very happy to see, because he was talking shit about Aspinall. Damon Jackson was saying, oh, Tom Aspinall, he's annoying. Jon Jones deserves everything. He just was fucking sucking Jon Jones's dick. It was horrible. And I'm very glad to see him. I wish it was a brutal KO. But yeah, David Onama, Romero, pretty good fight. Romero did good, short notice. Gas tank kind of failed him. Tybura destroys Diniz. I got that pick right, though. I think he was an underdog, too. Like I said, the grappling, it's just too big of a difference. Gall gets brutally KO'd in the first. Probably his last UFC fight. Should be his last UFC fight. Good performance from Ramiz. Bassil Hafez versus Oban Elliott. Shouldn't have picked Hafez. I went for a big underdog. And it was a close fight. It was a very close fight until he got knocked out in the third brutally. I picked Veronica Hardy. Bad pick. Even though she was fighting in a higher weight class, she was the much smaller fighter. Much less power. Honestly, arguably more talented. She just, the size difference, the genetic difference, it was too much. But yeah, pretty long video. Let me know what you thought of the card. And yeah, that is it for me. I'm going to make another Oliveira video tomorrow. But yeah, that is